Hello everyone, welcome to Love Talk, exploring intelligent love with James and Helena.
Over the years, I lost count of how many times I have heard the cliche, men are all the same. But certainly that can't be true, can it?
I have to defend my gender here because men get quite a bad rep. In fact, over the years, the gap in the percentage between men and women being unfaithful has narrowed quite a bit and is now no longer that significant.
The bottom line is that whether you are a man or a woman, it can be incredibly difficult to deal with betrayal. In fact, some people find it almost impossible to ever trust someone else of the opposite sex again. Hence the reason for many women saying that men are all the same.
So today we're going to talk about how this is not only a misconception, but also how there are men who are looking for a long-term commitment and marriage. Actually, just as there are men who are not ready to settle down and want to play the field, the same happens with women also.
Saying that all men, or women for that matter, are the same is like saying I will never buy a car ever again because I had one and it broke down. So all cars are unreliable. We would have a lot of people with blisters on their feet, and James here would be missing out on his precious Formula One.
That's right. Later on in the show, we'll be showing you how accepting that one bad experience doesn't mean all of them will be bad, can help you to find happiness in your love life. But it has to be said also that if you are being cheated on by the same person repeatedly, that is a sign that the said person cannot be trusted again. Having said that, it doesn't mean that the next person will treat you the same way.
Today we have a lovely couple with us. His name is Vladimir and Ruth, and they're going to be telling us about their story. I mean, they've been together for over 20 years, and I'm really keen on asking them and knowing what they've been doing to keep the flame alive, and
Right.
And also I'm going to ask them what they think about the whole topic of unfaithfulness.
That's right. And if, we didn't bring a couple here that suffered with cheating and unfaithfulness, but we did bring someone who did completely the opposite. They've been building a stable relationship for 20 years, and it's amazing. Also, later on in the show, we'll be interviewing the legend that is John Gray, who wrote the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and other books, some of them which I've read, and they're amazing. And we'll be asking him on the topic of cheating, unfaithfulness, and what he has to say on the topic. But first, here's a video that talks about the difference between men and women cheating. Have a look.
We've all heard the stereotype that men are hardwired for sex and are more likely to stray from their partner, but that for women, sex isn't that important, that women want nothing more than commitment and emotional stability. But that stereotype isn't true. Women also cheat on their partners. But why? I talked to psychotherapist and author M. Gary Newman, and he said that one of the main reasons that women cheat is sexual infrequency. Newman surveyed 500 admitted cheaters and non-cheaters. The non-cheaters said that they had sex with their partner an average of 10 times per month, while the cheaters said that they had sex with their partners only 5 times a month. Newman also cites communication, or specifically a lack thereof, as another reason that women cheat. According to Newman, non-cheaters said that they spend an average of 30 to 60 minutes a day talking with their partner, and the cheaters said that they spent less than 5 minutes talking with their partner every day. And here's a really interesting statistic from Dr. Helen Fisher, an anthropologist at Rutgers. Fisher cites a study where 34% of the cheating women surveyed said that they were happy in the relationship. So the less happy the woman, the more likely she is to cheat. That makes sense, right? But this doesn't necessarily apply to men. Fisher said that 56% of the cheating men said that they were happy in their relationship. So based on those numbers, it seems like men will cheat no matter how happy they are with their current partner. Meanwhile, more women are cheating than ever. According to a survey by the National Opinion Research Center, women are 40% more likely to cheat than they were 20 years ago. Scientists partially attribute this to the increased presence of women in the workforce. And the more successful the woman, the more likely she is to cheat. A University of Washington study found that women who earn $75,000 a year are 1.5 times more likely to cheat than those who earn less than $30,000 a year. So to review, scientists have found that these factors are the keys to why women cheat. Sexual infrequency, lack of communication, unhappiness in the relationship, and a high level of success at work. Monogamy. It's been around since the days of ancient Mesopotamia, and for as long as monogamy has existed, so is adultery and cheating. Society has always frowned on it, from the Ten Commandments to the modern-day legal system, where adultery is still considered a felony in 5 states. But cheating still occurs. What makes people cheat? Let's start with men. I talked to M. Gary Newman. He's a psychotherapist and author who conducted a survey of men who admitted they'd been unfaithful. 48% said that the main reason they cheated was because of emotional dissatisfaction. Newman says that men are much more sensitive than many people might think. If they don't think they're getting enough praise or admiration from their current partner, they'll seek it out from someone new. It turns out that men find a lot of this praise and admiration in the workplace. Newman said that 40% of the men he surveyed met the other woman at work, where female colleagues are more likely to look up to them and compliment them on their accomplishments. Of course, physical attraction plays a role when men stray, but it's not as big as you might think. Newman said that 88% of the cheating men said that the woman they cheated with was less physically attractive than their current partner. Another contributing factor for men who cheat, enablers. 77% of the men who cheated said they also had a close friend who had been unfaithful. Newman says that when men see someone else doing it, it's easier for them to justify their behavior, even if they know it's wrong. And most of them do indeed know it's wrong. According to Newman, 68% of cheating men said they felt guilty about it. So it's not all about sex after all. It's about feelings. Men are sensitive and need to feel like they're wanted. I know, pretty sad, right?
Now, some of those things there on the video are right on the money, as they say. Others, not so much. The truth is that when there is unfaithfulness, when there's cheating in a relationship, there is always a root to that, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just because, the man saw a prettier woman, especially because the survey said that 88% of men cheated with someone who was actually not as attractive as the wife. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is, every time there is unfaithfulness in the relationship, there is an issue that has to be dealt with. It's not as easy as the person being unfaithful. So bear that in mind and find if there is problems in if there are problems in your relationship, perhaps there has been unfaithfulness in the past. You want to solve the problem, deal with the issue.
It's like unforgiveness. Maybe there is unforgiveness in your relationship, and you just want to get back at the other person and just do what you're doing, and that is a very serious issue there, amongst many others. Mm-hmm. Let's get to know a bit more our guests, and let's go for our weekly love quiz. Hello and welcome to this week's Love Talk Quiz, and it is a time where we test the knowledge about each other. I have with me today Vladimir and Ruth. Hi guys.
Hello.
Well, we are just about to know how well you guys know each other. Are you ready?
Yes.
Well, so these are the rules. The rules are very simple, and so are the questions. And I will ask you each 5 questions, and you only have 10 seconds to answer each one correctly. It's not a long time, so pay attention and be quick. Let's begin with Ruth, shall we? Ruth, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Really?
Yes.
All right, question number 1.
Okay.
10 seconds. What's his happiest memory as a child?
Oh my goodness.
10 seconds.
His father?
Close, almost.
His family?
Yes, correct. Correct. His time with his family. Question number 2. What kind of music does he like?
He likes, oh my goodness, there is a blank.
10 seconds.
Strangers in the Night by...
Not the song, but what kind?
What kind? Romance.
Oh, that's correct. Well done. Oh, I like this. Question number 3. What's his favorite meal?
This is easy. It's salmon and veggies.
Very well. Oh my God. Okay then. Question number 4. What 2 items can he not live without? 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's easy too. His phone and his iPad.
His phone and?
His iPad.
But he didn't answer iPad. What other thing? 10 seconds?
I don't know.
You just ran out of time, Ruth. Okay. He said mobile phone and his watch.
Oh, okay.
Well, you've got one more question and I want you to pay attention at the question because you only have 10 seconds to answer this one, okay? It's quite long. Now, name 3 things you and your partner think have in common.
Our goals.
He didn't say that.
Okay.
Quick. Goodness, you froze.
I'm froze. Finish?
Yeah, you ran out of time. But let me tell you what he said. You've got the same fighting spirit.
Okay.
You don't give up easily.
Yes.
You like going out and you love watching movies.
Oh, that's true.
Isn't it? Yeah. So, well, Vladimir, it's your turn now.
Okay.
Let's see. How are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling very positive I'm gonna win.
Are you? Okay, let's see the results. Well, question number 1. What kind of movies does she like?
Romantic.
Correct. Question number 2. What are you guys most likely to argue about?
When I'm disorganized at home.
That's correct. Very well. Question number 3. What does she love the most about you?
My personality.
Yes, I can accept that. Yes. Question number 4. What was her most difficult time in life so far?
When our son was sick.
That's correct. Oh my God. Last one. If you get this one right, you won. Okay. Where did you go on your first date?
I think cinema.
That's correct. Well done. Okay then. Well, 21 years of being together, I understand why you got it all right. And the score is 3-5 and the winner is Vladimir. Well done, Vladimir. You've done wonderfully well. Well done. You got them all correctly. Okay, now it's time for the 3 most annoying things about your partner.
He's disorganized. One of the things that I don't like. I organize the things, when I go back there, it's out of the place, so it's one.
She demands too much from me that I'm organized, and sometimes I get home, I'm tired, and I just want to throw my clothes all over the place, and she doesn't understand that.
When he tells me something, but then he repeats it over and over again, that annoys me, because I understood the first time, but he has to bring it back.
First of all, when I'm speaking and she interrupts me and I'm having I'm trying to pass an idea and then she cuts me off and then I get lost.
Yeah, basically this is it.
I don't remember the third one. I love her too much.
Welcome back. So as usual, we found out a little bit about our guests there with the 3 annoying things about your partner in the quiz. It's always nice to hear about the annoying things about your partner.
It is. It's actually very funny.
It's interesting to see what annoys each other. So I have here with me Vladimir and Ruth. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening,
Hi,
James.
thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
Now, Vladimir, are we right in thinking that you've pretty much traveled a lot of countries all over the world? Where have you been?
Well, originally I'm from Brazil, but then when I was very young I traveled to South Africa. I spent 15 years in Africa.
Right.
Mostly in South Africa, but I also went to Swaziland, Kenya, Ghana. After that I spent 7 years in Asia, mostly in the Philippines, but also a little bit in Hong Kong. I did visit Japan as well for a couple of months.
Right. So you've been around.
Yes, a little bit.
So you've been together for 21 years.
Yes.
Is that right?
Correct.
How did you meet? Did you meet in one of your travels or?
Well, I went to work in South Africa and so did she for the same organization. And
right.
yes,
Perfect timing.
yes. And then as soon as I got there was a dinner in the evening, and I saw her there at that dinner. And yeah, that's how we met.
Oh.
Yes.
So-
we were both Brazilians, but we met in Africa.
Right. So Ruth, what happened? He approached you, you approached him, or?
He took my attention
Right.
when he entered the house, but he was the one who took initiative.
To speak to you.
Yes.
Right. So when usually two people get together, especially when they're in a different country, they come from different parts of their country, usually there's friction, little problems in the beginning. When you started dating, when you got married, what kind of friction did you go through?
We did not have little frictions, we have huge ones.
But let me
Huge
just
friction.
ask, you've been married for how long now?
21 years.
21 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Tell us everything.
Yes. My wife is from another part of the country.
Right.
So she's like from the farm. She had a different upbringing than mine. I'm from the big city. So this was a problem for us. We had really to find a way through these differences we had of lifestyle and so on. You know, people from the farms, they usually take things
I was
easily.
from the village too. I was from the
Yes,
village.
So usually they take things more, you know, how can I say, take things easy.
Yeah, they take their time.
They take their time. And whilst those from the big cities, they cannot. If you take your time, you lose everything.
Right.
You lose opportunities.
So when you got together, do you think he was too fast, wanting to do things too fast? Was he putting you under stress? What were the problems? What happened?
He was very much demanding.
Right.
For me to really adapt to his way at the beginning, but then he had to.
I gave up.
Good choice, because no one can change anybody.
Yeah, I noticed that. I learned that.
So he tried to change you.
He
like
tried
he was
to
demanding.
change me, yes. And then from that loving person that I met, that man, now I started to look at him as my boss, for example.
Really?
He wants me to do things his way. Mm-hmm. And he was not looking at, because women, they are more sensitive.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think at the beginning he was not looking at that side of me.
Right.
It's like all the romance is gone when you start seeing
That's
that.
how I
he's
felt.
losing his patience. He doesn't understand me. What's going on here?
Yeah.
But in what way would you try to change it? Because you said, of course, there was a difference because you were from different parts of the country, different upbringings. I mean, what would you demand from her that you couldn't get her to change?
A lot of things. Well, I like to do things fast, everything fast.
Right.
So if we had to go to the shopping mall, I have to do everything in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Not
But
possible.
she wants to try this and try that, and she wants my opinion. And you know, I said, come on, I want to go, I have other things to do. So this was a problem. Also, sometimes I didn't like the way that she used to answer me. I at the same time that I like things done fast, but I like always to speak can you please do this? I like to speak nicely to people, but she was a bit, maybe because she has many brothers and many sisters, you know.
Do this, do that.
Yeah.
You be quiet.
Yeah, that's right. And when because she was quite independent, she had a job. She was 20 years old. She had a job in another country. Right. She already had a job for like 4 years. And she had her own salary and so on. So she wanted to a little bit be like the boss all the time.
But she said she felt like you were the boss.
Yeah, it was a mutual feeling.
So there were two bosses.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What?
So we both had to learn how to respect each other's opinions and be flexible, which we were not. And lack of flexibility really damaged our relationship in the beginning.
Ruth, what was the most difficult time in your marriage? Throughout the 21 years you've been together, I know you have a son.
Yes.
How old is your son?
He's 19.
19. So traveling the world and adapting to new cultures, what was the most difficult time, the most difficult period in your marriage?
It was when my son got sick.
Really?
That I thought he would die on that night. So for me, was like the end. I really didn't know what to do at that moment. So I consider that day, that week, that time, the worst.
But is it because it caused some strain on your marriage, or was it just because it was difficult to deal with that?
It was, when there is sickness in the family, when something like that happens, it affects all of us.
Right.
I saw the pain of my son, and I saw the pain of my husband, and I had the pain inside of me too.
Right.
So for me, it was very hard at that moment to deal with that.
But I imagine going through, after a situation like that finishes, you become closer afterwards. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, it did. It brought us, we had to fight together to overcome that difficult moment. And actually our son got healed later because we came together. We will come out of this together.
Right.
And
So
our relationship was strengthened. One of the things, as we are married 21 years, one of the things I learned is that sometimes these difficult moments, there's some crisis that happen in the family. Sometimes it brings us closer together. It strengthens our relationship, our bond.
Okay, we have to go to a break. I want to find out after we come back from the break how you went from having two bosses in a marriage and how you sorted that problem out, right? You tried to change her, didn't work. She maybe tried to change you also, didn't work. So we're going to find out what you did, right? And we want you to understand that, as we were saying earlier, a marriage takes a lot of hard work, right? But once you get it right, just like any hard work is hard, but also pays off. When you get a relationship right, even though it may be hard work, it pays off tremendously. So don't go anywhere. We're going to hear how these two bosses started to understand each other in the same house. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So we've met Vladimir and Ruth. What we found out about them is that they wanted to be the boss, and when two people want to be the boss, is a problem, right? But there's an incident about a suitcase we want to hear about. They were talking to us about the suitcase. Who's gonna explain?
Oh my. Okay. There was this time we had an argument,
Right.
and I decided I want to go back home because he did not want to accept me the way that I was.
Right.
So I
What
said,
did you do?
I told him I was born like this, so you have to accept me like this. I could not
Did you
see.
say it like this, smiling? Did you?
No.
I don't think so.
So he went to the other room, and while he went there, I packed my things.
Whoa.
And then I put my bag on the living room. And then when he looked at, what's that? I said, oh, I'm not good enough for you. So I'm going home. I'm going back home. And then he said, losers are those who does that. Because you don't want to fight for what you want. You easily give up.
Wow.
So he was saying that it's like you were giving up over the marriage. Is that right?
Yes.
And what was your reaction?
Yeah, because then I felt weak when he said that, and I could not accept being a weak person.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately I took my bag, I went back to my room, and I put there. And I proved to him that I was not.
So it worked.
By the way, yes, James, but I knew she was not leaving. Because if she really wanted to leave, she would take
Are
the
you
bag and
sure?
go.
Yeah.
She wouldn't place it there in the corridor, in the
Yeah.
passage.
But you know what? Every couple has moments like this. I remember there was once I was walking to the bus stop with Helena. Do you remember Helena? I was
I
carrying.
remember another incident.
Today we don't have time for that other incident.
Are you sure?
Or do you want to talk about yours? Should I talk about mine?
No, go ahead. I want to hear.
We were walking to the bus stop once, and I was carrying a bag. I think we were going to work, and I was carrying like this big suitcase with me. I was carrying some stuff, and we had an argument as well. And I was so upset that I dropped the bag there, heavy bag for her to carry, and I went by myself to the bus. Do you remember that?
No.
But all this, let me tell you,
But it must have happened.
all this is drama.
Yeah.
It's just drama. You don't really
Yes.
think about doing that. It's drama, and then you go back to it. And if you're intelligent, you solve the problem and you move on. So what did you do to solve this problem of having two bosses in the house?
Well, we learned that a marriage cannot survive without humbleness. Both of us. No marriage can survive without humility. Each one of us have to look into ourselves and realize our mistakes and stop pointing to the mistake of the other person.
So when you say humility in what way?
Of recognizing our mistakes. You know, like I recognized I was being too strict with my wife. I'm demanding too much from my wife. I am trying to change a person that has been like that for 20 years. And by the way, this incident of the suitcase, we were married for 2 years only.
So it was
So
right at
like
the
in 1
beginning.
year, I wanted to change a person. I mean, and I realized that's not how I'm wrong. And if a couple cannot say, I'm wrong, I made a mistake, that's not how I should do it, marriage will never survive.
Yeah. And I brought that thing also from my family. As I had a big family, I used to see my mother being like the boss of the house.
Really?
So,
Maybe there was a need, right?
yeah,
Why was she like that?
Yes, my father didn't mind her controlling us, putting things on place. So then I grew up seeing that. So
On my side, my father always told me the man is the head of the family. You he always told us, and sometimes used to mention people that we know. For instance, so and so, he allows the wife to be the boss. Oh, that's not how to be a man.
So imagine.
So you know we have the recipe for disaster
oh, yeah,
there.
So you were programmed to behave a certain way, both of you.
Yes.
not to, and I didn't want to show that I was caring, sensitive, that I needed him. So then when
that's
there was an
difficult.
argument, I wanted to set my point straight. And then it was when everything was like upside down.
So
That's so bad. You've got to show some vulnerability,
Yes.
isn't it? Otherwise,
Because we women, we are.
we are, and men are too. But you know, women.
but men don't like to
as
show
well.
that we're vulnerable.
Yeah, but we know
We're
they are. You
strong.
know, Ruth, we know they
We're
are.
always strong. We're never weak. Even when we're weak, we have to be strong.
But doesn't
And we
a
don't
man?
cry.
And we don't cry
But James,
in front of people.
Yeah.
but when there's no one looking. But don't you think a man likes to see that, you know, how his woman is a bit vulnerable so that he can care for her?
Yes.
Because, you know, that's something a man likes to do. So if you were like always showing like you're strong,
Yeah.
and then it makes it really hard, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
So
We are very strong indeed.
accepting that you couldn't change your wife and that you couldn't change your husband was a very important factor to making the marriage work, right?
Exactly. And she did that too. She put a lot of effort to recognize her mistakes and not like I am telling her. She realized and she changed as well.
Let me ask you something. If you were to give one advice to people who are married, who've been together for a while and they're going through a problem, if you were to give the one most important advice you could give to a couple, being that you have experience of being together for 21 years, what would your advice be?
As I said, humility. Be humble enough to recognize your mistakes. I've seen people that they're always saying, because my wife is like this, my wife is like that. Looks like he's not doing anything wrong.
It's like he's perfect.
It's perfect. Or sometimes it's on the other, it's the opposite. Or sometimes it's both. With, love is not enough for a marriage. We need to be humble too. Humbleness is a key element.
So it's interesting what you said. Love is not enough. You have to love, but you also have to be humble to recognize when you need to change.
Exactly.
And you, Ruth, what is the one most important advice you can give to people who want their marriage to work?
Recognize that your mistakes. See that where you came from, but remember where you are right now, and give the value that your husband deserves to have. Because when you met him for a reason. Remember that time. Remember why you decided to live together?
Someone that might be watching us and their marriage is on the brink of divorce, or they can just diffuse the situation very easily. Just go to that person, say, I'm sorry for everything. I'm really sorry, let's try to. Instead of being or non-talking terms, why don't you go there and just say this, I'm sorry, let's try.
It makes
That's
such
all.
It makes such a difference, doesn't it?
This is what I learned.
Isn't it?
All
so
the time
easy.
I did something
easy.
that hurted him, I come to him
And I remember when I was, a year married, we used to have a lot of arguments because of my
Really?
way.
I didn't notice.
Oh no, let me refresh your memory. It's because I was very independent as well, very strong-headed. And I used to, be very jealous and so many other things. And there were times we would be like, no talking to each other for long hours, sometimes a day or two. But later I understood, if I only go to him, James, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to say what I said, forgive me. But I was so proud. He needs to be the one apologizing. He needs to be the one.
But, as Elton John said, sorry seems to be the hardest word.
Yeah,
Jeez.
true.
It's one little word that solves many problems, but it's really
Exactly.
hard. It's really hard to
But
say.
we did learn that lesson
Absolutely.
too, isn't it? It makes a difference.
I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you so much. I'm
was
sure
a
that your
pleasure.
story has inspired other people.
hope so.
And don't go anywhere, because after the break, we are going to be rounding up the show, telling you on what we think is the right way to deal with betrayal and cheating in a relationship. But also, we'll be interviewing the one and only Dr. John Gray, the writer of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It was a pleasure to have Vladimir and Ruth on the show. And you see that sometimes people look at idols, role models. There's a good role model for you to have. If you're a man, if you're a woman, both these people did something great to keep their marriage together and a success. Perhaps you can learn something from them.
Yes, and it's a good example that, for people at home to see that a good marriage doesn't come for free.
Absolutely.
It requires work, forgiveness, and sacrifice.
Absolutely. Now, in a few moments, we will have an exclusive interview with John Gray, the writer of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, so don't go anywhere. But before we talk about trusting someone again, let's be very honest here. Cheating on someone is no small thing. So if someone has cheated on you, before you decide to forgive and move on, you need to assess a few things first.
That's right. The person must be completely honest about what happened and why it happened. If the person who cheated shows little or no remorse about it, there is a very good chance that they will do it again.
You can't just say, you know what, don't worry about it, just make sure it doesn't happen again. You need to go deep into the reasons behind what happened. Deal with the root of the problem that caused that betrayal to happen and fix that problem to ensure it doesn't happen again.
Now, please note that when we say you need to go deep into the reasons behind what happened, we are not saying you should ask for every single detail for when your partner was in bed with the other person. That is irrelevant and it will only cause you more pain. The important thing is that the reason behind a bad decision to go astray is fixed once and for all.
And of course, after you go over what happened, there can only be two outcomes. You either stay with the person and try to make the relationship better, or you decide to move on. In either of these cases, you are going to have to choose to trust again. Whether it means trusting that same person once you forgive them, or to trust someone new once you move on.
And please don't think that a betrayal happened because there is something wrong with you. No matter what happens, you cannot put yourself down and lose your self-confidence. There may be things you need to work on together as a couple, or you will have to work on if you move on, but not because you aren't suitable for a relationship.
That's right. Lift up your head and don't let whatever happened put you down or see yourself any differently. You can put this behind you, heal those wounds, and be happy. We hope today's program has been really helpful and can help you move on and heal the wounds of the past and believe there's nothing wrong with you and you can finally be happy. Now, before we go, we have the so much anticipated interview with John Gray. We're going to pick his brains on this subject of, faithfulness, being cheated on, betrayal, and see what his years of expertise have to say. We hope you enjoy it. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, as promised, we're here with Dr. John Gray, the author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and also you can find out more about his work at marsvenus.com. John, good evening.
Thank you. Well, good evening to you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. We've been trying to have you on for a while, so it's great to talk to you finally.
I'm happy to be with you.
Now, I wanted to find out, I usually say that if someone cheats in a marriage, the solution is not just to find out that the person cheated and either forgiving or moving on, but it's to find the root as to why they did that. Why do you think that people usually are led to do something like cheating in a marriage?
Well, I'm completely aligned with what you just said. I agree with you completely. I just get sick to my stomach when I hear people say, "Oh, you know, my partner cheated on me," whether if it's a man or woman, so we're getting a divorce, and we have 3 children. I mean, come on, give me a break. Now, this is just absurd that we think that just because your partner cheats on you, therefore you should get a divorce. You should get a divorce if you can't love each other. And don't pretend that you're loving them if you can't forgive them for having an affair. But the reality is when an affair happens, it happens for 2 reasons. One is a person is dissatisfied and not getting what they need in the relationship. That's one. And the other one is simply stupidity. And that person needs to wake up and understand that having an affair is going to hurt your partner. Mm-hmm. So you've got stupid people or immature people who basically, and it tends to fall in the category, and this category tends to be more men in my experience of working with people, is they're out of town, there's an opportunity, and they could actually be very satisfied in their marriage, but men get horny, and women do too, of course, but men do get hornier more. Mm-hmm. Way more, 10 times more. That's what women need to understand. It's all about testosterone. He's got 30 times more testosterone. And it has a huge impact on how much men want to have sex, particularly if they've got healthy testosterone levels. So suddenly he's wanting to have sex. His wife's nowhere around. So some woman's coming on to him. There's an opportunity here. So he thinks if my wife doesn't know about it, it's not going to affect her. Mm. But what I want to explain to these men, it does affect her. You know, some people will say, well, she was probably going to find out one day. And a guy can easily dismiss that thought. Well, no, I'll just keep it secret. No, what you're doing is you made a sacred contract when you get married to share your love monogamously. And that's what I'm addressing. The people who start out and say, we want a monogamous relationship. It's a betrayal of trust to cheat on your partner. But it's not the end of the world crime that you have to end a relationship. How do you stop loving someone because they love somebody else? Come on. But it does cause a wound. Right. And that wound has to be healed. So you have to understand why the partner did it. And if it's stupidity, you just share how much it hurts and how important it is to feel special. That's what a relationship is. It's fulfilling the soulmate need. If you're living as role mates, throughout history, men have had affairs, women have had affairs, and it's not a big deal as long as you don't embarrass your partner. And that's been acceptable. There's nothing of moral judgment here. It's just what standard do you want for your relationship today? Today, we have the opportunity for experiencing a soulmate, a connection on the soul, experience a lifetime of growing love, lasting passion, personal development, full expression of potential. All these things are possible to us through having a truly nurturing, fulfilling relationship. And most people want that. That's when they get married. Nobody goes down the marriage aisle thinking, okay, we're going to have a great honeymoon, then I'm going to be cheating on my partner. So imagine how good you felt when you were directing all your love to this one person, and that feeling, that's your soul talking to you. That's your potential. And so many people don't realize that. And part of it is just men think, oh, I can get away with it, my partner doesn't know. Now, the other reason for having affairs is generally why women have affairs and many men have affairs. And that would be because I'm not getting it at home. I'm not experiencing the magic. I'm not experiencing the passion. I don't feel connected to my partner. I'm just not turned on to my partner. But give me somebody else and I get turned on, and you suddenly feel alive. Your body comes alive. You feel young and vibrant. of course you want that. Why should I be stuck in a marriage? It's like a prison where this person resents me, this person is unappreciative of me, this person ignores me, this person neglects me. I'm stuck here and I can go meet somebody else and they're like all excited and I'm excited. Wow, that's like going to heaven. Why wouldn't I want that? So we have unfortunately, we have this potential of being fully alive through soulmate sex, for example, and soulmate interaction, fully love, but we don't know how to sustain it. And I feel sorry for people because they don't have the skills. They go to therapists who teach the wrong stuff. They read books that teach the wrong stuff. They follow their parents' advice. They do the wrong stuff. This is new stuff. And yet what's unique to everybody is most everybody wants this, what I'm talking about, but they don't know how to get it.
Right. So I think my final two questions would be, do you believe that if there is unfaithfulness in a marriage, in a relationship, do you believe it's possible to regain 100% of that trust you lost in the person?
You know, there's one book I read by a lady, and it's called My Husband's Affair Was the Greatest Thing That Ever Happened to Me. And because when the affair happened, it gave them a chance to recognize how unhappy they were with each other and see how both people were responsible for the affair. In this example, the woman was able to see that her coldness and her rejection and her disapproval and her inability to find happiness within herself, her neediness, her depending on him to make her happy, she saw that that was her mistake, just as her husband having the affair made his mistake. Right. So when people are mature enough to recognize when one partner makes a mistake, two people are involved. And this takes a higher level of consciousness. I don't think everybody is there, but I help my clients get to that place. I'm a tough therapist. When you have problems, I have people there's no victims in my office. I see we're all capable and responsible for what happens to us. Even if somebody is a bad person, why are we staying with them? Sometimes that's the reason. What are you doing to contribute to that problem? I don't see victims in my practice. There are victims in the world, and the reason they're victims is they have no education on realizing how they're creating their problems. You know, if I was driving my fancy car down to the store and somebody keyed the side of my car, it cost $2,000 to fix. So am I a victim? No, I shouldn't have been driving my car in that neighborhood. I shouldn't have even been driving that car. What I did is I sold that car because it was an expensive car. It bred resentment in the people in my neighborhood. And so why would I do that? So we have to get out of this victim state and get into another state, which is the state of what works and what doesn't work, and think of the whole picture. And when marriages fail, okay, what's not working here? Take responsibility for your side of it. Then you can find forgiveness, and then you can rebuild the trust, and it can be a real trust.
Right. So I think my final question would be, I'm sure you can't consolidate 30 years of experience working with relationships into one advice, but if there was one most important piece of advice for couples, what would you say that was?
If you're having problems, stop blaming your partner and recognize how you're creating them, one. Two is if you're having problems and you're blaming your partner and you can't recognize how you created it, and you can't really, otherwise you would have done that, realize you need help. And you need to get help from somebody who actually has a great relationship, not some of these divorced psychologists or something, or somebody who's recommending drugs if you're depressed and you're not happy. This is all nonsense. We should learn how to make ourselves happy. And if you're not happy and you do have a biological problem, instead of taking antidepressants and these drugs that only make the problem worse, that's proven to make the problem worse, find the natural solutions for it. And I've written lots of books, and my website has all kinds of natural solutions for anxiety, for depression, for unhappiness, for lack of energy, lack of motivation. Because sometimes the problem is we just are eating the wrong foods. We're not taking care of our body, or we're not taking care of our mind, or we're too busy to enjoy our lives. And we're the ones who are at fault, not our partners. Always take it back to yourself, and you have a chance of changing. But if you have problems, why do you have them? Because you don't know better, so you need to get help. People need to get help. The challenge is, who do you get help from? Find somebody that inspires you, who's also an example of what you want.
Okay, Dr. John Gray, thank you very much. I want to reiterate what you said. Don't seek help from the wrong people, and try to find help from, for yourself to be happy first. Don't try to change your partner. I think that's great advice. If you want to get more advice and learn more about the work that Dr. John Gray does, you can visit his website, marsvenus.com. Dr. John Gray, thank you very much for being with us on the show.
A real pleasure. I love your ideas. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, thank you.